Okay, here we go with a little bit of pattern alteration, modification, uh, basically fixing up. This can be done for selling patterns, making patterns with crickets uh, from a hand sketch, imported scannings into my Pages app is now brought into the Pixelmator app, which this is done by selecting half of a pattern and then pasting it over in Pages, copying and pasting. But the idea is you want to get a clean black and white uh, copy. So you got to bring it into Pixelmator where you can go over all the fine details and what needs to be adjusted, resized, moved. Um, that will give you your finalized pattern where now you can digitize it. Well, it will be digitized, but it can be enlarged, reshaped, and exported as PDF, JPEG, what have you, PNG, etc. I brought this into Pixelmator, and I'm going to use a few tools to gather up the all the elements, and just looking at it, it's like you step back and say, all right, what do I need to do? And you could see right here with this leaf, I got a little choppiness right here. What you do is you could select the pen tool. I, I You could use a permanent marker or uh, pen like a gel pen. A gel pen is actually good. Uh, it's nice and clean. When you put it down, you can see it's very clean. You can adjust the brush size, the softness. So I like to use gel pen because it actually works really well. You could use a permanent marker. Um, Shape of the angle of the brush. You could zero everything out. Um, like so you can look at what it looks like. That's pretty good. You got no smudging, smoothing. You can hit the smoothing. That allows you to, you know, when you hit smoothing, to really work with it. All right. So with that said, I'm going to change my brush size to 3. You can see the size of the dot. You get right in your pattern. Just kind of clean it up. You can see I'm bringing that in. Um, and then you use different tools to do different things. But like I said, you kind of give a good look at what's going on. Uh, you, being that this is hand drawn, the brushes and tools in Pixelmator are basically just to help with the final digitizing. As you can see, I'm just cleaning up. All right, and then what I like to use, a tool that I use quite often, is the nudge tool, or warp tool in this case. What that does, it brings up a selection circle, which allows you to move whole areas. Like just say you wanted, this leaf to bend out a little bit. You could do things like that. You could also tighten up areas of the pattern. Too thick of a line, and depending on the size of the tool, you go bigger. You can actually grab whole sections. Make movement. Right. For this pattern, I think 11, 10%. I can get in and really clean up areas. I'm centering the white area. And what that does, it will actually bring the white pixels and move them, allowing you to, cut back on some of the black lines. You don't want them too heavy. It works really well. Another tool in the, I guess, the nudge tool is a pinch, where you can actually bring that up a little bit bigger. Say you have an area that's really heavy, just click on it, and what it does is it literally pinches that selection. Right, just say you go around and things are just a little too thick for you. I'm going to undo that by hitting the Command Z, because this is kind of intentionally shaped because it is a branch. And again, have a little husk right here. I mean, I can leave it like that. I kind of like it, but I'm just going to bring it in a little bit. This goes to a delicate area. And you could also, wherever you center it, that's where the majority of the pinching will be done. So in other words, if you go up to the right of the pattern, I mean, I'll just do it for demonstrations. You'll see that it's pulling the pixels away here, which we really don't want. We're just gonna go with this. And excuse me, 1 minute. The cat wants to come in. 1 minute, not even 1 minute. Okay, we're back. Being unscripted, things happen. Yeah, so every now and then you kind of zoom out. You can see this is the full pattern. What I'm doing is I'm working on half of it. And the reason being is I'm going to select half of it and actually copy that and paste it over, being that this is a mirrored pattern. In a pattern that's not mirrored, naturally you don't do that. But you could see where I was working on this before. I cleaned up areas of this pattern to get to this point. So, stepping back, it's a good time to really look, see what you need to do. And right off the bat, I could see that this circle area needs a little work. So it's quite easy to do. I'm going to go back to the warp tool, and I'm actually going to bring it up a little bit and grab that and bump it out. What's nice about the warp tool, if you go along a straight line, you can actually extend the straight line. What I'm doing is, let's bring that brush down a little bit. Grab here, grab here. See how I'm just bringing that circle. And here it's a little flat, so I'm going to grab right here, bring it in. That. You could fine-tune small areas, little sections. So it's a little too rounded, so I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. I know it doesn't really look like a lot, but honestly, every little tweak you do. See here, I have an issue. This looks like it's too high. I'm going to grab it right down the middle and bring it down. Again here too. So you're gonna have to just clean up a little bit there. You could really zoom in, and there's another way of doing it. You could use the circle tool. That'll allow you to, line up a circle so you can use it as a gauge. Just import a circle tool. That wouldn't be a bad idea, and work with that. But honestly, this is it's okay. I actually like the somewhat irregularity of it, and it makes it look more natural. And again, you got areas where it's kind of heavy here. Get back into the pinch tool and pinch it right up. Just because. Whoop, we don't want to do that. I brought it over to the left slightly, so we didn't pull those pixels over. We'll pull these pixels over that way. See, and then at any time you can go into the warp tool. You bring it down for really fine-tuning stuff. You like that. There's so much you can do with Pixelmator. Again, I mean, you could actually draw a whole pattern if you want. With the pencils, if you're good with the mouse. I mean, the idea is with the mouse, I'm really not drawing. I'm just kind of manipulating. I'm correcting. It's make everything look a little bit nicer. Also, when you push the warp tool alongside the line edges, it kind of smooths them out. Let's see, let's bring it up a little bit. And again, that's fine. Every now and then you step back, you take a look, and if everything looks fine, you can do the transfer. But I'm going to go ahead and hit that pinch again because I see a little heaviness here. Just want to, stepping back, it's a good time to pinch things too. You see I have a little warping, a little dip here. So you want to pinch it to the top. See how I did that? It pulls it over, pulls everything over. Here, this line, it's a background line. It's coming in quite sharp into the circle. Whoop. So what I can do, go into the warp. You can move the whole thing. You like that. Rewarp that. And bring it down a little bit. And actually grab the line itself. You see I have I straightened it out, made it look a little nicer. Alright, but you can see it's thin here. So you go into your warp tool and you hit the bump, I'm sorry. And you could actually bump it out. See how it's now bumping that out. Go back to warp, I have a little bump here. Oop, too much. Like that. And then, finally, if you're finding, you really need to add some line to it. Say, this area is just a little weak. Blow it up, and then it carefully with your mouse, you just follow the line. Just keep that circle right in the middle. Everything will work out. It's not easy to draw with the mouse. That's why I don't even recommend doing it. but you can. For digitizing patterns, fixing things up, you know, it does work out well. Back down. Give it a look over. I mean, everything looks pretty good. This is a good time to look over elements of the design. Like I have this border. It's a rounded border behind. Make sure everything looks consistent. I do see a slight bumping here to the right. So what I can do is, just bump it over gently. And here I have a little heaviness. So you go into the pinch tool. I'm going to pinch over here to pull it over. And you keep going until you're comfortable. See, I pinched that and it brought that line in. You can pinch that. I mean, you could probably keep going for a long time just manipulating the design. And again, I'm using the pinch tool. This I want heavy because that's part of the natural look of the husk of that leaf or the branch. The branch comes up this way, so this is okay if it's heavy. Again, here it's a tapered line. That is intentional, as well this tapered line underneath these two end leaves here. So a lot of folks don't like irregular lines, but I insist on doing that because it adds to the overall look of the panel, of the piece. So it's intentional. You can squeeze them up a little bit if you want. I actually give it a name. It's called doing stained glass with shadowing. It's on the lines of decorative soldering. So when you do have heaviness, within reason, heaviness here, when everything's done, it'll show up as heavy areas, which is intentional. So here I'm looking at this element is across. I see that my line is a little heavy here. Maybe I want to bring a little bit more of a heavy line here. You can go into the tools, and I don't use them much, but you can actually draw a line, like a line like that, and connect. So let's just bring that down. I'm going to go to 2. I don't have to go all the way here because I'm going to grab half of this. If you want to center it, say, alright, that's 2. Bring it up to 3. You see how I just now fixed that line? You can do the same thing, use your crosshairs. You get in here. You can see it, move it gently. You fix up that line. Like I said, you could bump it out. And make sure your opacity is correct. Inner and outer shadow. I mean, that's just what that does. Is it gives it a little, shadow. But we don't want a shadow. So I turned it off. Again, the line tool is good for, really cleaning up things. You know that it's supposed to be straight. Let's just clean it up. Right. And then looking at it, I may even want to, looking at what I just did, increase it to 4. And being you have your line, you could also use your little arrow buttons on your keyboard. Alright. This one. Whoop. Same thing. The thing with Pixelmator, it's impossible to. Well, maybe I could change it in settings somewhere, but you can. Once you put down something, you can't just select it. I mean, maybe you can. Let's see. I'm gonna go. I don't use. I'm gonna use the selection tool. See, yeah, there we go. I can select it. So I just figured it out. Most of my stuff is hand drawn. So using the arrow, you can select elements that you put down earlier. All right. Let's go back to the line tool, and again, a little bit more. 4 points. On the horizontal, you can actually bring it to 5. It looks kind of nice. Just because it's the cross, and little defined edging is fine. You have a little section of the cross here. Take that, move it over. So what I'm doing is I'm actually, besides correcting issues with the pattern, actually adding a little bit to the design. All right. I need that. So here we have, I mean, everything looks good. I have a little bit of muddiness going on here. I'm going to see what's going on. Easily just blow it up. So, I must have done a little editing here and just got a little weak. So I'm going to go back to our brush, which is the gel pen brush, and just go right over it. And again, even if you mess up a line or you go off, it's okay, because you go into your nudge tool over at pinch mode. You go to warp. You can get in here and correct it. I said here you can. I got to select all. Let's see. Select all. Let's make sure that's working. I'm going to undo that. Alright. Back here. For some reason it's not selecting. It works there. For some reason. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. I don't know why it wasn't working. So, like I said, you can, after you do a pen, like it's something behind it. I don't know what that is. That's odd. I've never ever seen that. Let's go ahead and pinch this up a little bit. Alright, so right now I'm pretty confident. You just one more time look over things. This is a leaf back here, so I got the pinch. I want to warp that. So wasn't too happy with how it looks. I want to bump that. And this is a pedal. I don't want it so rounded. Just smooth it out. Like I said, you can go over a design. You're looking at all the attributes and the lines that you did, and you probably keep tweaking it all day long. Especially line widths. Like this one's a little heavy here. Just pinch it. All right, pinch it. When you're in one tool mode, you can just go around and start pinching stuff. Now I want to unpinch that because that branch, I want to keep that thick. So we're going to go into the warp tool. Just kind of bring the whole thing over. Clean that up a little bit. And like I said, I mean, you can go all day long on this stuff. Say a little heavy here. Dogwoods typically have a bump. You can add bumps to all the petals. Avoid consistency. In other words, don't make them look all the same. That draws away from the overall appeal. I mean, though there are bumps in dogwoods, or notches toward the end of the petals, like this. I mean, it's gonna be hard to do with stained glass. So this is more so a stylized look of a dogwood. There are times you have to sacrifice, realistic looking. This was a pattern, basically an Easter theme with the dogwoods and the cross. So you use the colors of spring, the whites and the golds and the pinks, and that's what it's about. So here, once I get my pattern, there's a little nudge right. I'm too I'm too I judge myself too much. So what you want to do is Command 4, and you want to get somewhere in the middle of this cross so you can select it. So you start over here, so when you come up you can adjust where you want to go to center. Let me just show you real quick, because what we're going to do is we're going to select this, and this is all by eye. See, that's a little heavy. It's pretty much right on the money right there. You select it, you let go of the mouse, you're going to head over to Pages. I did this earlier. We can get rid of all this, delete it, and paste it. This is our finalized pattern. Manipulated, corrected, call it what you want, that we did in Pixelmator. I did one earlier, but I wasn't happy with it. I mean, it's okay, but what I needed to do is I went a step beyond, and I did the coloration part, and I said, I didn't save the black and white, because what I did is I made some changes in the design. So I didn't save it. So anyway, here we go. We have this here. Let's paste an image. We're going to paste it again. You flip it. And if you look, you say, it's a little thick here. So the easy way to do it is just to select the one side and hit the movement keys in the bottom right area of your keyboard. So that'll shrink things up, move it over. Alright? Because being that you selected it as a rectangle, it's okay to move it over, because these are all squared up lines. Alright, so when you get to this point, you got two different sections of this design here. So you want to do is click off it, do the Shift Command 4, go anywhere, and select both, and you copy it. Now, to be safe, you go ahead and hit a new page, saving the old one here, and hit that. So I pasted this as an image. So you go into image, hit remove background, and when I say a lot of times, if you hit the auto remove background, it may chop into your design. So you want to hit reset and do it manually. Okay? It'll do it automatically. I like to do it manually so I can do like a 1%. Okay? Instead of taking off too much. And once you do that, this is you could actually resize it. You know, you look. You know, this page is 8.5, so I can't go any further than that on this page. But we could also take this, the pattern, and when you save it as a JPEG, you can blow it up to say 12 inches. Well, actually create a new page in Pages, a new document. That's say 16 by 16. Paste this from this working Easter Cross Pages document and blow it up to whatever size you want. Keeping in mind the lines will get thicker as you enlarge, but that's really not an issue if you're going to use pattern shears. But if you're going to use a printing or plotter Cricut, just remember that the lines will get thicker. And again, to me, that's not really an issue. If you need the lines thinner, there's one way of doing it in Pages. Excuse me. Being I have a pasted image here, you go back into the image, remove background, and then when you go to remove background, you say that's a little heavy. You're going to basically select all of these elements. Alright, I'm going to just show you the bordering. I'm going to say a line, and you can see that the lines get heavier if you put them in black, but if you put them in white, they actually become thinner. So if you blow things up, you could actually put a line, say a 2-point line, 2-pixel line, and shrink up lines, right? And a good way to keep track of what you're doing, you change the exposure, and you can really see what you did and what you didn't do. That's a little handy trick to thin up lines. Alright? Not only is it thinning up the lines, it's cleaning up any kind of rasterizing. Rasterizing is that bumpy edging you get. So the Pages software is doing like a smoothing out, if you would. Alright, just wanted to show that. Alright, so the good thing you can do is you can reset it. Alright, and like I said, alright, I just want to do that. You go style. I'm going to go back to black, make it 1, and then if you do it again, it's going to clean it up a little bit better. So this is going to be my pattern. Also, for a pattern, you want to brighten it back up. Put it to 0. And then from here, I can make another copy of this and start numbering them. I'm going to drag you guys into all that. It's very time consuming. I'm going to hit the done. Again, this size of this pattern is 8.9. You can make it 8.25. Bring it to the maximum. It's 7 high. If you this is really close to 7. What I like to do is hit the constraint proportions off, and instead of 7.8, just give it a 7. So you could say that this pattern is 8.25 by 7. And here you could center it, drag it, do wherever you want it on the page. You zoom down a little bit, you see how it's going to line up on the actual page itself. So this is probably the pattern I'm going to go with. I mean, it's not a small piece. It's 8 1/4, but again, if you go into create a new document, on the top left menu bar, you go to File, New I'm not doing a new document tutorial here. I'm just basically showing you how to drag a line drawing into Pixelmator, do some modifications, and then bring it back into Pages to do a finalized, the PDF, the digitizing. I mean, even along the way, if you look at something, you say, "Wow, I didn't see that before." Well, it's not too late. I just say, something really bugs me about. Like, this is actually bugging me, this circle area. So what I can do, it's pretty easy to do. Go to Shapes. Let's undo that. By default, it's not constrained. If you want to constrain it, the style, no fill, hit a border. You got 1 pixel, gonna go 2. You see how the overlay of this circle is now showing me that this is bumped out. So what you're going to do, you don't want to do it here, but so check it out. You know that this area is a little bumped out. So we're going to go back into Pixelmator and just push that back in. All right? Pretty easy to do. You can go to Pixelmator. You already have it. Right? So you save this, leave it open, and we have a warp tool, and you want to bring our brush size up a little bit more. You know that this area we have to bring it in. I could put a circle on here and do it, but I pretty much know where I went array. Put it that way. All right. Do that. You don't have to hit save or nothing. We're going to go ahead and do that selection. That's why, some patterns I could do a pattern in less than an hour, start to finish, scanning, pencil drawing, or spend days on it, because, you got to go back and look at it. I'm not really nitpicking too much, but if there's an issue like this circle, I can't have it. Right, I'm going to paste that again. Right, and paste it again. I'm going to flip it. Bring it to where it needs to be. Okay, the thickness, the ratios look good. Grab that circle. I'm going to bring it to the front. You see everything's smaller now, but that's alright. And as you can see, just with that little nudging, I fixed it. I like this circle in the front. I may even go with that. Stranger things have happened. If you had this circle in the front, it's really easy to work with it. You can go ahead and check it. Make sure things are working good. You can actually grab this and then remove, say, a little area that you're not happy with. Right now, I'm really. It's looking better and better. This is all part of the design thing. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, alright, I like that. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I mean, maybe as an option. Let's see, I can delete that. I actually like it. It looks a little bit more religious to me, and being that it's basically to symbolize, uh, the halo of Christ on the cross. So being that it's in front is actually more true to what it should look like. Right? So if that makes any sense. I'm also putting it center to the pattern. You can raise it. You can bring it down a little bit, just because it's kind of overshadowing. And to 5, bring it to 4. So what I would suggest is, if I did this stained glass, I would take anything that's touching that circle and foil it with 1/4 inch foil. What that'll do is it'll actually make the solder around the circle be more pronounced, thicker. Right? All the rest is 7/32. But just for that, just to bring that out a little bit. You also put wire on top. But yeah, it does add to the design. So what I'm going to do is bring it down and select everything. Like I said, it's part of a big part of doing design work is getting to a final place where you're happy with it. You can't see this, but on the top, I'm back in Pixelmator. I'm going to go File, New from Clipboard. So what it's doing, it's adding another tab here. So I can see that one I worked on, and that one with the new addition. You can blow it up. And here you can really blow it up and clean up things if you want. So here we got the warp tool. I'm going to blow that up because I'm going to be warping whole areas of this shadowing that is kind of. Let me do that. That was overlaid from putting that circle on there. I'll check this down because this actually has to be moved in. There we go. Let me get my brush. I just want to give that a little bit of a harder edge here. Right. Because it was weak. It's a little harder edge. Right. Yeah, see it's a little heavy here. So this pinch tool is really nice to, when it comes to stuff like that. You say, oh, and I got a little thickness. Pinch that, pinch it. Pinch that. Now if you go dead center to the circle, it'll keep the integrity of the circle. It goes dead center to it. Alright, so whatever you're centering on this pinch tool, it's going to bring everything toward it. Alright? Or I don't know who came up with this software, but I mean, what things you can do with it. So I just fixed that. Get a little shadowing here. I can fix that. And just say you made a mistake. Oh, hit the Command Z. But, I mean, you could be that dramatic with the tools that are here. I'm just going very gentle with things, and so everything's in baby steps. I have to undo that. I got a little aggressive. Alright, it's like the shadowing of the circle came through a little bit, which is okay. So again, we're going to go back to zoom down, look at it, take a peek at it, see what's going on. And again, being we bounce back into Pixelmator, we're going to have to do that copy, the Shift Command 4 on the keyboard. And we're working with a Macintosh, so that's our hotkeys. Right, we're going to grab half of it, and you can actually grab more because you could paste over it, but you don't want any obscure lines on that circle. So this way, kind of your eye has to play into it. It works out. You could always fix it. Always back and forth, fix. All right, so we copied half of that. We know that this is done because we don't need it. Right? We're done with that. We have that there. And we're going to go paste again. Arrange. Flip. Bring them together. Look at the integrity of the center, because whenever you do these flips and moves, you might have to tighten it up just slightly. Right? That looks pretty good. Actually, I'm happy, that I did this circle overlay. This brings this design, pardon the pun, full circle from me. There's a thing inside that says, oh, yeah, that looks good. No bells or whistles, but it just says, you know what? I have a level of contentment with how this came out. Hope that makes sense. Now, being I have two separate sides, that you could group it. You hold down the Shift key, and then group it. It makes it one. You can drag the whole thing. But I like to go ahead and Shift Command 4. Actually, create a whole new image. Get rid of that, and paste it. And the reason why, because now I can go ahead and remove that background, create a PNG with transparent background, and do a lot more with it with a pasted image. And you see we're on page 9 here, so progressively going down the page, that's my latest version. So you see that this is showing it as a larger pasted image from what I selected. You want to go back into image, remove background, and don't allow on the auto. See, it damaged this pedal here on this dogwood here. So you want to hit reset and click. Just you can go 0. You can go 2. 2% is nice. And then you let go of the mouse, and that now remove that background. And it gives you, when you do select this image pattern, it gives you your full size attributes from here to the side. And you go back to arrange, and go 8.25. See, it's back to 7.07. Gonna make it 7. Alright. Center it. And you really don't have to center it, but if you're just gonna print it. But if you're doing patterns, you have to. It's a OCD thing as well. So when you pan out, look at your page. It's in the middle where you want it to be. I have this version here, which is nice. I may keep it as a separate version, and then go with the overlay. We'll see. I mean, so now I look at it colorized. It's a 6 of one, half dozen of the other. And if that's the case where you don't want the circle, you want to do a quick pattern, say you have an option. This actually, I just thought of what I believe it's called the Cairo. That's that halo thing, the Cairo of the cross. I'm going back to my church design days, is, over 25 years ago, well, 20 years ago. Uh, it just popped in my head. But here, let's just say you want to do a version without that, and you already have this kind of carved in stone. It's one easy way to fix this. I'm just looking at it. So you know what? Easily put a square here. So the color fill is white. Give it a line. One. And you want to do is bring it right into this area of the cross, like that. Bring it across. I only added the border so I could see what I'm doing. Now we're going to go ahead and say no border. Look, it's pretty much gone. Clean it up. There's something coming out. Do that. You hit it, copy it, paste it. We're going to arrange that to vertical, up and down, 90, and do the same thing here, but we can't run it too far because it's going to remove that line. And you can see, checking the size, the top is actually wider than the side, than the horizontal, the up and down. You can do it like this too. It's too much. And then, there are other ways you can bring it into the Pixelmator and erase these lines, which I may do because this is being difficult. Make editable, gives you a little bit more flexibility. Getting close. You have to zoom in a little bit, see what you're doing. I'm just showing it. The tools I've learned using the Mac, there's a lot you can do. So I'm going to go select all. Look at this. And then, just say you got a little choppy issues. You can actually keep working on this pattern in this mode. Get in here. I gotta clean up that little dead line there. And so change the sign to 3. If you left mouse, you make it editable. You can really clean it up. You say that worked there, so let's copy that, paste it, and put it over here. Nobody's gonna know the things you did behind the scenes to get to where I'm missing that. Oh, am I missing that? Oh, I didn't do it. I just didn't do it. Let's see. Editable. And then again, I'm copying and pasting this line. Just need to fix that up a little bit. So I went from liking that circle to now unliking it because I saw the colorized version, and I just said, you know what, I really do like the way that came out. I'm gonna stick with it. it happens. You do things like that. You see, I got a little off shadowing here. It's not that horrible because see, watch what happens here. I have let me bring it back down. This is when a lot of folks need a little bit of help when they have little nudges, little issues with line drawings. They want to remove it because Cricut software doesn't allow you to use that because it will actually cut that. I'm going to go ahead and make a new page. I may delete this page because if this comes out successful, you don't need that. You don't need all these. So remove background. I've always got to reset. I wish it by default it didn't do that. So what you want to do is bring this up to workable size. And you said, remember the part of the cross that had an issue here. It's a little chop. What you do is you go to remove background. You know, clicking down and dragging out. See? Cleaned it right up. Again, here. Cleaned it right up. The further you drag away, the more it cleans up. So, to finalize, you can say, alright, I want to keep going. So I just want to really make sure I got a very clean pattern. You just keep going. And, you know, you say, alright, do it by element. Do it by, let's go by border. Whoops. I just removed all the lines. So you don't want that. You know, undo that. Get it inside there. The highlighter, the magnifying glass, works really well. You get that little dot right over where you want to be and drag away from it. See, yeah, everything is really cleaning up. So if I take this JPEG, throw it on a Cricut machine, a plotter, you know, when I'm all done removing the background, this will print up really nice. You could also, if you know, you want to go one step further, you can take that JPEG, convert it to SVG online, or super res it. SVG, what it's doing, it's grabbing the pixels and really it's giving it a high resolution, which it takes the line elements and assumes where the direction where it wants to be. It's a smart software. So, but that's what that's doing, as well as this background remove tool. It's actually sensing the areas that you know, by dragging out. See, I did 24 that time. I want to make these buds a little bit bigger. I want to cut a little further into the lines. So the more you drag out, like that's 36, the further it's going to cut into that line. Alright, just keep that in mind. So if you say, yeah, I need it a little bit bigger, so I drag that out, 45. That's going to make this line very thin, but the center bigger. Right? Shrink it back down. It's another thing with the alpha tool, the remove background tool. So I'm just gonna, just by moving your mouse, you can say you can pretty much get the feel of how far you've been going. There's a little nudge of the mouse, and I do this quite often, just when I do my patterns. I don't sit there and struggle over it. I just do it. Say it's 7-8%, 7-8%, 15-10, and every now and then you stop, just check the progress, make sure things are working smoothly. And so this ends up looking like, actually like a coloring pages, you know, and it's in its final stage. I'm going to hit done. I mean, I could keep going here, but then I could also just take half of it, copy it, and then paste it onto the other side. I mean, whichever you find easier, the copy and pasting will be more consistent. You know, you can see where that line is. If you want it perfect, you say, all right, well, right where that dot is there, where that square is, something, if you do enough of these, you get pretty good at centerizing. I could have left a little mark there to do it, but you know, we said that this was a little bit narrower anyway. Let's bring it out. Say, you know what? Maybe give it a little bit more thickness. Gonna copy that. And again, you don't want to delete this until you know for sure this is what we want to do. Go to new page. You paste it, or you can go back to one of these pages, delete it, because honestly you're not going to be working with it anymore. It might get a little bit too confusing. I could delete that. I could delete that. You know, this is what we're working with. Sometimes you have to go back, but for the most part, you don't. And once you get to the further stages of what you want to do, you see that's a little choppy. For some reason, it didn't paste nice. There we go. Alright. Sometimes it's a glitch in the software. I don't know. I pasted that. Let me center it. Do it again. I mean, it happens. See, I just did it again, and it worked. So, if you ever see that little step up and down, just repaste it, right? There's a lot going on. Maybe you got a little confused. I don't know. So here we have two separate images. You know, the image flipped. You want to go ahead and grab the whole thing. And remember, this is not in a PNG format, but it is JPEG. That works fine. And you could go back to PNG again. Actually, with that copy and paste, that's a pasted PNG. I mean, I could have left it like that, but you know what, people, you're gonna go on your Crickets. It doesn't take long just to remove background and work with the JPEG. You know, for me to offer, say, you know, Cricket ready PNG. I mean, I could do that. I have started doing that. You know, let's see. Let me just go. Yeah, that's not even a PNG. I have started doing that, but it honestly the PNGs, they take up too much. They're too big in size. I'm looking at this. I say, you know what? I made that wider. Huh. See. Sometimes it can be really difficult. Let me see. That to me looks a little more balanced. Do it again. Here. Delete it. That looks better. Let's try to find center here. Oh, you know what? I zoomed up. Let's go to 125. There you go. And remove background. I think it's psychological, but if you center things, the computer works. See how it did that when I did auto? And hit reset. All right. when you center things, things seem to work better. Oh, it's my OCD. We were doing 8, right? Oh, 8.25. Let's see, that's 6.94. Too close to 7 to not make it 7. Right? And we're pretty much done. You can also, I know it's a lot of back and forth, but sometimes you can bring this back into um, the Pixelmator software and clean up stuff even further. I mean, as I'm looking at it, that's what I may do. So I may just take a break here, but bring this back into Pixelmator because I see a little issue here. I see too choppiness here. Everything looks too mosaic to me. But what I did is I got to a point where actually went back to the original with this circle, but I did a lot of tweaking. But that's what it's really all about. I mean, I could print this. I could take this, right? Take the exposure. I mean, actually go into contrast. Go into contrast, which I do quite often. You bring it down to a contrast like that and print it. If you print that, you put it on a clipboard and go take your gel pen and draw over every line and rescan it back into Pages. You'll have now a really clean looking hand drawing of your design. I know it sounds redundant, but it really does work, and the benefit of that is, and especially when you're working on stained glass patterns, when you're using the pattern shears, and I'm old school. I use pattern shears. I don't rely on Cricut machines, and I don't cut over the pattern with my glass. So I use pattern shears mainly, and most importantly, is to get true to the artist's original intention. So if somebody draws a little flip here and there, or comment on a certain angle, and it's all done by hand, to get to that actual drafting and cut it up with pattern shears to that accuracy is second to none. It really does capture the original intention from the art, from the pattern, from the artist. So just keep that in mind. That's why I use pattern shears. It'll make a whole lot of sense to most people who end up grinding everything just to make it all look consistent, nice and pretty. But I'm again from old school way of thinking. There was no grinders involved, and everything we did was basically we were shaping the glass to match the intended design, the pattern. I hope that made sense. So here you can undo it. You can also, when you bring in your contrast, you can really bring it down. But it's a little bit more on designing. This pattern will be published ready shortly. I just need another copy and number it, save a side copy for JPEG. Maybe bring it back into Pixelmator just for final tweaking. I don't know. It's one of those things. Sometimes you got to just stop, step back, take a look at it, and you notice things, and then correct it and move on from there. And at some point, I can take any design that I've done and just keep tweaking it, manipulate, doing this. It's like at some point you got to say, hey, let it go. It's a nice design. move on. And that's one of the challenges I have. Everything is, I don't want to, not bragging or anything, but it's just, when people look at your artwork, say, "Oh, you're so talented. Where did you go to school? What college? Where did you learn it?" You don't get it. There's like a lot of work that goes into this. A lot of back and forth. A lot of tweaking. A lot of looking back. I mean, this is more. It's more of it's like I'm not building a shed. I'm building a house kind of thing. There's a lot of elements. Yeah. The overall. I use this concept. I grabbed a design idea, from dogwoods. I didn't copy it exactly. I made my own dogwood, but I liked the way the branch came out this way and it flowed up in an arch type effect. So I used that to, for reference. There's nothing wrong with that. I used that. I put my own simple cross, but how I manipulated the design to work out in this, wreath type of theme. There's a lot more to it. I didn't just copy and paste someone else's artwork, but I did use dogwoods for reference. So there's a lot of what I'm getting at, a lot of nuts and bolts involved. When people draw things from nothing, like say, for good example, like, great artists like Picasso or Michelangelo, they're actually drawing what's sitting in their brain. They're the true artists. Everybody needs a reference. Everybody needs a go-to. I mean, I've done a lot of designs where I just came up with stuff. It didn't exist. So I guess I'm accomplished in that way. But a lot of it, you need a little help. You need a little bit of inspiration. You need to have a reference. Like this one was done. That's just an original. I don't know where it came from. I was doing a tutorial, and this kind of popped out. I said, "Oh, you know what? That don't look bad. Let me run with it." And then this here was a referenced from a Celtic. It's the symbol for water, and I had to add some elements to it just to keep the interest alive in the design. This is another one I helped somebody with it, but it's kind of like a doodle. The thing nice about pages, you can just go back and I'm basically doodling. This a stylized flower, poppy flower, for a spinner or a bookend. It's stuck at this point. I was working on a butterfly. If you do have a Mac, and you can have pages. You can once you're done, like this untitled 9 pages. Once you're done with something, you save it. You save it as Easter cross, and see this is edited. And what's nice about the Mac will show you that don't quit, because you have to save this. So you can lock it where you want to lock it so that no one can change it, or you can simply hit the Command S. You watch to edit it, and it saves it. So now this is saved as Easter cross pages, and again you can export it by going up into the file, export to PDF. Do what you gotta do, and it'll grab this document, this Easter cross pages document has 11 pages in it. So it'll PDF to 11 pages. Actual 11 that's, I guess the word pages mean pages. Well, you can see the weird side of me. All right, with that, I'm gonna shut this one down. It's just another tutorial. I know some of them get long. I apologize, but there is a lot going on. I'm not just, you know, talking about other stuff. I think as I go. It can be difficult. I mean, this is unscripted. Um, so if you understand, I hope you understand that. And again, if you do like the video, please subscribe and hit me up. Hit the thumbs up on the bottom here, and say you like it or comment below. I really do enjoy that the most when you guys come along and comment. It makes my day. I say, oh, somebody comment, and I read it, and whether it's a compliment or indifferent, I like them all. I like, if you say, hey, you should have done it this way. I get it. I have a thick skin when it comes to that stuff. I mean, and I listen. Some people come up with great points and say, it's gonna be weak here. With it's hanging off, or that's a hinge. I'm not big on the hinge school because all the stuff I do has got an edging. You put a thin wire, 18 gauge wire around the whole thing. Yeah, it takes time, but you're only making this one. You're making it to last. So you see a hinge. Once you put a wire on it and solder it, no more hinge. See, I know that's a hinge, but it's also going to have a wire here. Also going to have a wire here. So don't hinge police me, please. All right. Anyway, please comment and like, subscribe. And you do that by hitting that Holy Spirit window. And you guys take care, and we'll see you next time around. Bye now.